Buddy, welcome to Friday Night Live. This is Guy Newcomb, your host, be here for the next probably 90 minutes here remaining in our show. A lot of games haven't gone final. We'll try and uh, get you some of those finals here as they come in, and we'll go ahead and read off some of the finals here at as we have them right now. We'll go through our scores here, and you're listening to Missouri Sports Network, or you're listening to Friday Night Live on the Missouri Sports Network, MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. We do know that we'll be joined at 9:40 by Mid-Buchanan head football coach Aaron Fritz. At 9:55, we'll talk to Lamar head coach Jared Beshore as they get a win and go to 6-1 in a very hard-fought battle, 14-0 over the Nevada Tigers in the Silver Tiger Bowl. The finals we have at this time, first off, SLU, the Junior Billikens 43-6 over Chaminade. CBC, they defeat Vianney 56-7. Elsewhere in the fourth quarter, Blue Springs trails Rockhurst 14-10. Game right behind us, you can see on the screen, as Bolivar has just scored, and they've gone up on Waynesville 35-29. That game in the fourth quarter as well. Also in the fourth quarter, Monroe City is leading Brookfield 42-20. In the third quarter, West Strand over Harrisburg 41-28. Pleasant Hill and Warrensburg all tied up at 31. That game in the fourth quarter as well. Elsewhere in the fourth quarter, St. Francis Borgia leads Lutheran 44-13. Fort Zumwalt South on top of Washington 35-32. That game in the fourth. In the fourth quarter's Valley Catholic leads St. Genevieve 31-0. Also in the fourth, Owensville on top of Union 38-35. In the fourth quarter, Lebanon leading West Plains 52-14. Also in the fourth quarter, Osage on top of Boonville 24-16. Logan Rogersville in the fourth leads Marshfield 38-7. Lafayette now on top of Eureka 28-21. In the fourth quarter, Camdenton leads Hillcrest 28-14. Also in the fourth, Jefferson on top of Grandview 26-12. In the fourth quarter, Trenton leads Maysville 34-24. West Platte on top of Lathrop 33-20. Elsewhere in the fourth, it's Ava on top of Thayer 50-24. Also in the fourth, McClure leads Melville 20-18. In the fourth quarter, Wright City on top of North Callaway 33-20. And DeSmet in the fourth quarter leads St. Mary's 10-0. Also in the fourth, Montgomery County on top of Louisiana 35-14. Sullivan leading St. James 18-9. Holden is on top of Richmond 17-13. In the fourth quarter, Southern Boone leads Hallsville 54-24. In the third quarter, Clark County on top of Palmyra 26-6. Kirksville leads Mexico 14-6. Lexington is on top of Carrollton 46-6. Colcamp leading Lincoln 20-6. Liberty North at the half leads Blue Springs South 21-14. My apologies there. Harrisonville at the half leading Clinton 14-7. Cape Central leading Sykeston 33-0. That game was in the third. Fort Osage on top of Truman 27-0. That game also in the third. And it has gone final in Stratford as Forsyth defeats Stratford 42-28. Elsewhere in the third, Kelly leads Hayti 26-18. Also in the third, East Buchanan on top of St. Michael 28-17. In the fourth, El Dorado Springs leads Sherwood 44-0. Also in the third quarter, New Madrid County Central on top of Perryville 27-6. In the third quarter, Principi on top of Miller 20-6. And it has gone final. South Shelby defeats Macon 42-0. Also a final, Elias defeats Jeff City 24-6. Elsewhere, final score in Salem is Mountain Grove shuts out Salem 39-0. Smithville, they defeat Winnetonka 41-0. Elsewhere, a final, Hannibal defeats Moberly 28-8. Blair Oaks shuts out Eldon 55-0. That has gone final. Lamar, as I mentioned, they shut out Nevada 14-0. Marionville, they defeat Sarcoxy 42-6 in a battle of unbeatens. Oak Park, they defeat North Kansas City 4-3-6. Bowling Green shuts out Mark Twain 65-0. Republic, they defeat Branson 35-25. Butler defeats Warsaw 30-27. Scott City defeats Chaffee 56-14. Grain Valley, they defeat Hickman 42-18. Poplar Bluff, they defeat Farmington 28-14. Elsewhere, final, Kearney defeats Raytown South 40-12. North Platte, they defeat Lawson 28-14. Versailles shuts out Lone Jack 43-0. Central, Park Hill Central, they defeat Fredericktown 59-7. Rockbridge shuts out Columbia Battle 38-0. Salisbury defeats Fayette 30-8. Owensville, they defeat Union 38-35. Lindbergh, they defeat Kirkwood 28-24. Elsewhere, final score, McDonald County, they defeat Monette 45-14. Marceline defeats Scott County 43-21. Lebanon, they defeat West Plains 52-14. Van Far over Crystal City 14-8. Hermit hangs on 1-point victory 22-21 over St. Clair. Liberty defeats Kabul 24-20. Dexter defeats Kennett 28-14. Cassville shuts out Springfield Catholic 42-0. Centralia, they defeat Highland 43-0. Reed Spring 26-12 over Aurora, and we'll be hearing from Andy McFarland, head coach at Reed Spring, here later on in the show. Ava, they defeat Thayer 58-24. Neosho over Ozark 20-14. Lafayette, they get the best of Eureka 28-21. Elsewhere, final score, Putnam County, they defeat Gallatin 52-8. And we welcome to the show now Mid Buchanan head football coach Aaron Fritz. Coach Fritz, thanks for joining us.
Hey, no problem, man. I'm on the bus here, so if it's loud, it's just us being noisy.
Hey, it's good. It's all good. You got to get crazy after a win, Coach. Tell us about tonight's game.
It was a physical battle, man. We did some really good things in the first half, played hard, played really well defensively, got stops when we needed to, and all the good stuff we did on offense in the first half, we kind of gave it back in the second half. It was really poor and made a lot of poor decisions with some things, but we kept playing defensively, got some stops when we needed to, and only gave up the 8 points there, and we're able to find a way to win.
13-8. Kind of tell us about, that down the stretch had to be kind of a nail biter.
Yeah, we had the ball at the end. Had a nice kick return, and we're able to bleed out the clock at the end. I don't know how long our drive was, but I think we had 3 first downs at the end, and we were able to take a knee. So they had the ball the entire fourth quarter and scored their touchdown, and then we kept it the rest of it on our only drive of the fourth quarter. So the quarter went fast. I bet that game only took an hour and 45 minutes, but everything happened so fast you just never know.
Coach, you come out tonight's game relatively healthy for being 2/3 of the way through the season?
We got a couple guys banged up. We'll see how tough we are and kind of how bad it is. But you just don't know until we get to the weekend and see these guys and then see them again on Monday. But yeah, we got a couple guys that aren't fully healthy, and we'll see what happens when we get back this weekend.
And you've got big rivalry game coming in next week where you deal with East Buchanan. You need to celebrate this one tonight, but talk about that challenge next week.
We haven't really crossed over on film much with them, so I've only seen them a couple times. But man, they're good. They're big. They're physical. They're really talented still. I mean, they're one of the best teams in the area for a reason in the entire state. And we're going to have to do our best to make sure we do what we need to do in practice, take care of ourselves, do what we're supposed to do so we can go out and compete.
Very good. Well, how far of a ride back is it from Penny?
A little over an hour. Not too bad.
Very good. Well, tell us about some of the kids that really stood out for you tonight, offensively and defensively, especially just hold them to 8 points.
I thought our guys up front actually played really physical. On the D-line, we played like 7 guys, and all 7 of them went in there and did a really nice job. Pugh, DeBosch, Burton, Minery, Brooks, who am I forgetting? Holden Sumner, all those guys went in there, played their butts off, and did a nice job. And for a team that plays foot to foot, 2 tight ends, double wing, and a fullback, you're getting full speed downhill run at you every play and right in the A and B gaps. And our guys did a pretty good job for most of the night staying in there and hanging in there and doing the job that we asked them to do. So I was pretty proud of our guys up front. We'll see what the film looks like to see how really proud I am of them. But from the live view of it, I thought we did a nice job.
Well, Coach, it kind of, and I know what it's like up there at Mid Buchanan, but down here, we finally got a little fall weather, a little football weather. That had to be fun tonight.
Yeah, and I've always been kind of like that. I'm tougher than everybody else. I'm being shorts and a t-shirt all the time, but man, I'm getting close to 35 years old, and I'm just getting soft. So I wore sleeves tonight because I'm a big old softy now.
Oh, you're a pup at 35 years old. I got tennis shoes older than that, Coach. But hey, Coach, and again, been visiting with Aaron Fritz, the head football coach at Mid Buchanan. Big win tonight, and good luck this upcoming week, and hopefully we'll get to visit with you again. Always enjoy it.
Guy, appreciate it, man. Good talking to you, and thanks for covering us.
Hey, you bet. Thanks, Coach.
Take care, brother.
You bet. You too. Aaron Fritz on the line with us there, the head coach at Mid Buchanan. They're currently sitting at 3rd place right now in their district. East Buchanan is on top of that district at 6-0, and then Trenton is between them. They're at 5-1. Don't know what Trenton did tonight, but we'll run through the scores we have. We'll check on Mish's side here real quick. Here as we head on, it has gone final behind me as Bolivar comes back and they defeat Waynesville 42-20. I believe it's 42-26. They come out with a big win there. We're down 20-6 early. Just giving up 1 touchdown there in the second half, so they may have made some adjustments as well. Run through Mish's scores right now. Carthage, they've won 4 in a row now. They just defeated Webb City tonight 20-13. Bowling Green shuts out Mark Twain 65-0. It was Caruthersville 54-6 over Charleston. Springfield Central, they get their second win of the season as they shut out Skyline 37-0. We hope to hear from head coach Shem Johnson during the show at some point. Drexel over Greenfield 70-38. KIPP KC Legacy 56-0 over Harmon, Oklahoma. Herman, Missouri defeats St. Clair. Was Archie over Jasper 72-0. South Shelby, they defeat Macon 42-0. Portageville over Malden 49-0. Hannibal, they defeat Moberly 28-6. Lamar shuts out Nevada 14-0. Last night, Nixa defeats Willard 47-14. Odessa defeat Center 52-6. Mid Buchanan over Penny 13-8. Marquette defeats Rittenhour 21-7. SLU, they defeat Chaminade 43-6. South Nottoway over Stewartsville 54-14. Sweet Springs, they defeat Santa Fe 66-6. Van Far over Crystal City 14-8. And elsewhere, let's see if we can get to some Other scores here were Gallatin, they fall to Putnam County 52-8. Kirksville defeats Mexico 24-13. And it was Potosi over St. Charles West 19-17. Elsewhere, Mount Vernon defeats Hollister 56-13. Was Pattonville over Seckman over Pattonville 28-3. Fort Zumwalt South over Washington 42-32. Capital City defeats Smith Cotton 41-28. It's St. Dominic over Duchesne 45-7. Fort Zumwalt North over Liberty 35-14. Cameron defeats Lafayette 54-17. Polo over Russellville 29-16. Howell defeats Timberland 42-14. Sullivan over St. James 25-9. Was Malden falling to Portageville 49-0. Marquette defeats Rittenhour 21-7. Principia 42-13 over Miller. Howe, they defeat Fort Zumwalt East 44-7. Hillsboro defeats DeSoto 42-0. Marshall shuts out Fulton 20-0. Milan over South Harrison 40-0. Herculaneum defeats Bayless 40-0. Jackson shuts out Confluence 70-0. North County over Windsor 24-16. St. Pius X over Benton 58-14. Houston over Willow Springs 69-15. It was Diamond over Stockton 23-7. Forsyth, they defeat Stratford 42-28. Central, St. Joseph Central over Excelsior Springs 42-12. Rockwood Summit over Oakville 49-7. Also a score from last night is Caruthersville. They defeat Charleston 54-6. You're listening to and watching the Missouri Sports Network at MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. Certainly glad you've tuned in, and as always, presented by Lyona Labor's Local 663, sponsoring our Teams of the Week and the Scoreboard Show. Lyona Labor's Local 663, they remind us, hey, drive safely in work zones. Those folks, they want to go home to their families as well. Running through the scores here that are coming in as finals, and we'll check over here on Twitter. You can send us a note at Twitter. Send it at Scoreboard Guy on Twitter or at Missouri_sports. We'll be joined here in a little bit by Alan Hilliard from Alan Hilliard Sports. We'll go run through here some of the notifications that are popping up on Twitter. Lincoln, they come back and get the win over Cole Camp 28-26. It was Ozark over Neosho, that 20-14. And Forsyth, as I mentioned, 42-28. That has gone final. We'll be joined by Forsyth head coach Chris Conley here after the top of the hour. At last report, Rogersville was leading Marshfield 38-7. That was with 4:52 remaining. Final score, Branson falls to Republic 35-25. That one has gone final. Mountain Grove, they defeat Salem 39-0. That one is final as well. Lockwood on top of College Heights 72-34. That is a final in 8-man football. Checking on other finals, and we're getting started a little bit early, but what a beautiful night for high school football. We get our first night kind of feeling like fall. We've got a frost warning for tonight. So hopefully Hopefully, folks are staying warm. And as always, the Missouri State Highway Patrol reminds us, hey, take that 3 seconds and buckle up. It is 3 seconds that could save your life. Be safe, be smart, and be here tomorrow. Also be hearing from Kickapoo head coach Nate Thomas, and we'll run through the scores as we update them here. And we'll be doing it all night long. Go to Scoreboard Guy on Twitter. You can check us out on ScoreStream as well, and we'll try and tweet that out here in just a few moments here. And we'll await as we await Coach Jared Beshore here. Ava defeats Thayer 58-24. Blair Oaks shuts out Eldon 55-0. Rockhurst 14-10 over Blue Springs. Bowling Green shuts out Mark Twain in the district matchup there, 65-0. Liberty Mountain View over Kabul, 24-20. Webb City falls at Carthage, 20-13. Caruthersville over Charleston, 54-6. Cassville shuts out Springfield Catholic, 42-0. Park Hills Central, 59-7 over Fredericktown. Springfield Central, they defeat Skyline 37-0. It was Scott City over Chaffee, 56-14. CBC defeats Vianney 56-7. South Callaway over Cuba, 41-0. DeSmet 26-0 over St. Mary's Southside. It was Central St. Joe over Excelsior Springs, 48-12. Salisbury defeats Fayette 30-8. Fort Zumwalt West over Francis House Central 27-14. In 8-man, it was Drexel over Greenfield 70-38. Harrisonville, they defeat Clinton 40-7. Herman over St. Clair 22-21. Jackson shuts out Confluence 70-0. In 8-man football was Archie over Jasper 72-0. Festus, they defeat Grandview out of Hillsboro 26-12. It was Lee Summit North over Liberty 38-20. Lee Summit North now 7-0 on the season. St. Joe Christian over King City 58-26 in 8-man football. Lincoln defeats Cole Camp 28-26. South Shelby over Macon 42-0 was Portageville as they defeat Portageville over Malden 49-0. South Shelby defeats Macon 42-0. Hannibal over Moberly 28-8. Monroe City defeats Brookfield 42-26. It's Montgomery County. They defeat Louisiana 47-22. Neosho over Ozark 20-14. Lamar defeats Nevada 14-0. Both teams now 6-1 in that Big 8 West. And Nixa last night over Willard 47-14. Mars, I mentioned, now 6-0 on the season. They are at Nevada tonight with that 14-0 win. Only loss of the season is at 6-0 Seneca, and that was a loss at home. They've got Cassville next week, and we hope to be joined here shortly by Jared Beshore, the head coach of the Lamar Tigers. You look at that district that Lamar is in. They are 6-1. They're ahead of Butler, who is 7-0. Adrian 6-0. Sarcoxy now 6-1 on the season as they fall to Marionville in that Class 2 District 5. And we welcome to the show now the Lamar Tigers head football coach, Jared Beshore. And Coach, hey, thanks for joining us.
Hey, no problem, Guy.
Coach, big win tonight over a very good Nevada team, and you shut them out. Talk about tonight's contest.
Yeah, we, it was a great atmosphere. Starting to feel like some cool weather. So it was a great, felt like an October, November Friday night. It was a very physical football game. I think we both gained the same amount of yards offensively, and it was just a big defensive battle that came down to big plays and turnovers. And luckily we were able to force a few turnovers and make a couple big plays that kind of swung the game into our favor. But I mean, you want to talk about a defensive performance from our guys and our special teams. It was a big night for those guys, and played outstanding in those two phases of the game.
Coach, talk about those big plays. Kind of give us some examples of what happened. Obviously, a couple big plays anyway for touchdowns.
Yeah, so we there in the second quarter we had a defense forced a 3 and out and put the punt return team on the field, and they kicked it to us, and Ian Googie ran it back for a touchdown, about a 60, 70-yard touchdown, and just really swung the momentum into our favor. So that was a big play. It was the only score of the first half, and it was towards the end of this first half. So it kind of got our kids confident, got us rolling a little bit, and was able to push us through the second half.
Any adjustments that you had to make at halftime?
Say that again.
Did you have to make any adjustments at halftime?
Yeah, Nevada was doing some really good things defensively, shooting gaps and causing us havoc on our run game. So, we definitely made some adjustments blocking scheme wise to try to sew that up. Defensively, we made a few on their run games. They were giving us, some different troubles on the D line that we hadn't practiced. And so our defensive coaching staff was talking to them, making sure we had our techniques down and just having our eyes in the right spot. So at that point, it was really more just talking about technique and making sure that, we had all bases covered as far as trick plays or kind of counter type plays, things that maybe they don't do very often, but we're able to pull out of their sleeve there in the second half. And so had made a few things adjustment wise in the halftime break, but the biggest thing was physicality. We got to go win the physicality battle in the second half, and our kids did that.
You kind of feel like your defense maybe right now is kind of rounding into shape here. This is 2 shutouts in the last 3 games. They're playing awfully well right now.
They are. Kids, the preparation, which starts on Sunday with our scouting report, and just making sure that we're starting fast on Monday, reading their keys, and then also hats off to our defensive coaching staff for getting those guys prepared, week in, week out, and then is our scout team has given us a great look during practice so that on Friday night our kids are prepared. If there's plays to be made, our scout teams have tried to make it against them so that we can, sew up those loose ends and make sure that we have a focus on those things that give us trouble and during the week. And so things right in all 3 of those areas with the kids and their preparation, our coaches and their preparation, and our scout team giving us a look during the week that typically translates into some good defensive football on Friday night.
Coach, did you guys come out of tonight's game relatively healthy?
We did. We didn't have any major injuries or setbacks. Obviously, it's a physical football game. We're going to have some bumps and bruises. Some guys banged up a little bit, but nothing that seemed to be serious at any point in time in the game. So we'll talk to the trainer, Dave, when we get back into town, reevaluate, make sure we're good to go, and ice up, tape up, whatever we need to start next week.
Another big rivalry game next week is you got Cassville at your place. What do you know about the Wildcats?
Cassville's playing some really good football. I haven't looked at their scores tonight, but I know that last week they gave Nevada a really good game. And, Coach Weldy always has his guys very well coached up. It's a proud program, a lot of tradition there, and a lot of tough kids. It doesn't matter what type of Cassville team they put out there. They're always going to be tough, physical, and they're going to run the football. So we got to be prepared for that. And, we'll prepare this weekend, look at some tape. But right now we're just enjoying this Silver Tiger victory.
Absolutely. And just a heads up, Cassville shut out Springfield Catholic tonight, 42-0. So there's your score.
Gotcha. Perfect.
All right. Well, Coach, hey, as always, I appreciate you being generous with your time here. And, hey, safe travels heading home, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yep, absolutely. Thanks, guy.
Hey, you bet. Thanks, Coach.
Bye.
Good night. Coach Jared Beshore there, kind enough to join us here on the Scoreboard Show, Friday Night Live, as the high school scoreboard show here rolls along. We've got coming up here in just a minute or two, we've got Andy McFarland from Reed Spring, as they get a win tonight over Aurora tonight. Let's see here. We'll see what that final score was. And Reed Spring now is 4-2. They had a win over Aurora tonight, and we'll see if we can't find that score here, as I know they got a win. I don't text coaches, football coaches anyway, if they do not get a victory. I'll tell you what we'll do right now. We're going to take a quick timeout, and we will come back, and we will visit with Coach Andy McFarland after these messages from Chevrolet.
Chevy Silverado. It's got the power you want and the capability you need to do the job, so you can get to the important work. Find new moments, find new roads. Get a $500 cash allowance on all 2022 Silverado pickups with a 2.7-liter turbo engine. Plus, unlock your code to claim $500 Chevy CyberCash. Visit ChevyCyberCash.com today.
Imagine a bank that goes where you go, creating seamless solutions for every step in your financial journey, allowing you to manage your money the way you want to, with a banking relationship that makes every day extraordinary. Imagine a world full of possibilities, always within reach. Central Bank. We do banking better.
The innocence of youth. Is there anything any better? But soon they'll be in high school and facing all the same challenges you faced. How to make friends, how to fit in, how to be cool. We want our children to have everything they'll need to live fulfilling and productive lives. Make sure the kids in your family are among the more than 290,000 participants here in Missouri who take part in high school sports or activities.
Hey, welcome back to Friday Night Live here on the Missouri Sports Network, MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. Hey, certainly glad that you have tuned in tonight, and we welcome to the show now Reed Spring. We welcome to the show now Reed Spring head football coach Andy McFarland. Coach McFarland, thanks for your time tonight.
Hey, thank you. How you doing?
Doing good, Coach, and you guys are doing well. Also, Coach, tell us about tonight's win over Aurora.
Well, we were, we got to play at home, and finally, as I'm sure you maybe have already talked about, is the first little taste of football weather tonight. It was a little bit chilly down on the sidelines in our little valley down here in Reed Spring. But Aurora came to town, and Aurora, Coach Pitts and his staff are doing an amazing job. They're a much improved team. They're very physical. They're very well coached, very well prepared. Their kids played really hard. And we kind of had a battle on our hands tonight. They're coming off a shutout on Marshfield a week ago. And so, we spent a lot of time in practice talking about the things that they do well and some things that we need to work on, of course. But we were able to walk away with a 26-12 win tonight. And really proud of the way my team played, especially our defense in the second half. Held Aurora scoreless. It was 13-12 at halftime, and we had a good second half, a good finish tonight.
Coach, who were some of the players that really stood out for you tonight, offensively or defensively?
Not too long ago, just a few days ago, you were interviewing Chris Daniels for having a record-setting night for our school. He broke the school record against Marshfield a couple weeks ago for rushing yards in a single game. Tonight, Chris had a great game. I have not laid an eye on a single stat And there was a lot going on late in that game, so I won't remember everything, but I do know Chris put up a ton of yards tonight, got in the end zone a couple times. Blaney Burrell, our quarterback, threw some really nice passes, and we had one touchdown called back, and a couple other drops that would have been big plays, maybe scores. But he made a lot of plays with some pressure in his face, and he pulled the ball down and ran a couple times, which is not something we do a ton of, is run the quarterback. But he made some big runs right when we needed a play to happen. James Dowdy, even though he's getting double and sometimes triple team, still was able to get in for a score tonight, and a near miss on another one, but made a couple plays underneath on screen passes and things like that, and played a great job. Our offensive line did really well. Aurora's big up front. They're strong. They're playing kind of an odd front and bringing lots of pressure off the edge tonight. And our guys up front did an incredible job. Lucas Wattenberger is our left tackle. Had a really good night. Spencer Michaud, our right guard, was really good tonight. And the unit all together was a great night tonight, and kind of paved the way for Chris to run the ball and have success moving the chains. And we struggled a little bit in the red zone here and there, but overall, good performance.
Coach, did you come out of tonight relatively healthy? I mean, I know you're 7 weeks into it, so it's going to be bumps and bruises, but relatively healthy tonight?
Well, we've been pretty banged up all year, and I think around the area it's kind of the same, and it's ankles and bruises and stuff like that we've been trying to overcome, and we're still pretty dinged up. A couple guys that we got to check back in with over the weekend to see how we're feeling, but overall we're getting healthier, and that's what you hope for the kind of final stretch of the season. And we'll be going to Rogersville next week, and then we host Mount Vernon, and right now we're tied with Mount Vernon for the lead in the Big 8 East. If we're able to, we kind of have the control of our own destiny. We talk about the kids right after the game tonight. If we can win those two games, we'll be the Big 8 East champions for the second year in a row, which is something that we're really excited about having the opportunity to do. However, that's two great teams, and there's definitely no cakewalks involved in that. We've got to fix some issues that we're still having on each side of the ball, and we've got to play really well against two really tough and really well coached teams.
What do you know about Rogersville? You make that trek up there next Friday night. What do you know about the Logan Rogersville Wildcats?
I know Coach Talbert's a good man. I know that, and I know that he's got some really incredible athletes on his team, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I also know, we're talking about injuries. They had lost their quarterback earlier in the year, a kid that had a lot of talent, a great arm, and he's out for the season, unfortunately, with a knee injury. And so I've heard they've had to do some things kind of unconventionally. I think they got a win against Marshfield. I've not even seen the scores, man. It's been a busy post game for me tonight. But they play a lot of defense, and they run the ball, and they've got a great big back that runs downhill, and we're definitely going to have our hands full with them. Last year it was a very competitive game, and they were also playing without their starting quarterback in that game, and they had a backup kid come in and play really tough. And I know Coach Talbert and his staff are going to have their kids ready to go. We're going to Rogersville, and so it's going to be a really important week for us to make sure we're taking care of ourselves and preparing for our opponent.
You bet. Well, Coach, I greatly appreciate you being generous with your time here tonight. Congratulations on the win, and go enjoy that. It was a home win on a nice, cool, finally a fall-like evening here in Southwest Missouri.
No doubt about it. Anytime you get a win, it's a good night, and doing so at home is extra special. And yes, I was, I think it was 87 degrees last week at kickoff down at Seneca. So I think every single one of our players was okay with weather in the 40s and 50s tonight. It was a different level of energy on the sideline. So we're down for more of that.
You bet. Well, Coach, hey, have a great evening, and we will talk to you soon.
Thank you. Thank you for the coverage. Go Wolves.
You bet. Thanks, Coach. Andy McFarland, Reed Spring, head football coach there. They got a big win over Aurora. They got they're at Logan Rogersville next week, and then they finish off, as he mentioned, with Mount Vernon at home. And you look at his district, Right now, Seneca is atop that district at 6-0, and they get a win tonight. Mount Vernon is next at 5-1. They also get a win tonight, and then Reach Spring at 4-2, and they get a win tonight. So that none of those scores have showed up yet within the district standings. So far, nobody from that district has posted a score. We'll run down as we wait. Our next coach will be Chris Conley coming up at 10:20. So we'll run down through the scores here. You're listening to Friday Night Live here on the Missouri Sports Network, MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. And presented by Great Southern Bank. Great Southern Bank, with more than 100 locations in 6 states. Great Southern Bank, understanding what really matters. Member FDIC. Also presented by Doak Propane. Doak Propane, for all your propane needs, see the folks at Doak in Polk County and surrounding counties. It has gone final there, as I mentioned, Bolivar at Waynesville, and Bolivar wins 42-29. We'll try and update some of these scores here, see if we can find an update on them. And we're kind of limited to coaches putting the scores in, or somebody at a game sending it to us at Scoreboard Guy or at Missouri_sports. What we have at this time, SLU, they defeat Chaminade 43-6. CBC, they defeat Vianney 56-7. Rockhurst in the fourth, they defeat Blue Springs 14-10. Bolivar defeats Waynesville 42-29. Glendale, last report, was on top of Parkview 37-14. We'll just skip down to the ones where we have finals on here. We've got one game. The last report was at half. So we'll see what we can find here in the final. South Shelby, there's a final. South Shelby defeats Macon 42-0. Elias, they defeat Jefferson City 24-6. Mount Grove shuts out Salem 39-0. Elsewhere, Monroe City defeats Brookfield 42-26. Was Hannibal over Moberly 28-8. Smithville defeats Winnetonka 41-0. Was Blair Oaks over Eldon 55-0. Westran, they defeat Harrisburg 41-36. Carthage over Webb City 20-13. East Prairie defeats Doniphan 51-0. It's Platte County as they defeat Belton 42-7. Joplin over Carl Junction 37-13. Seneca, they defeat East Newton 50-14. Lamar shuts out Nevada 14-0. Marionville, they defeat Sarcoxy 42-6. Oak Park over North Kansas City 43-6. Elsewhere, St. Francis Borgia defeats Lutheran 44-13. Ava over Thayer 58-24. Bowling Green defeats Mark Twain 65-0. Republic defeats Branson 35-25. Butler, the Butler Bears, they defeat Warsaw 30-27. Scott City over Chaffee 56-14. Grain Valley, they defeat Hickman 42-18. Dexter defeats Kennett 28-14. Poplar Bluff over Farmington 28-14. Salisbury defeats Fayette 30-8. Fort Zumwalt South over Washington 42-32. Jefferson defeats Grandview 26-12. Kearney over Raytown South 40-12. Was North Platte over Lawson 28-14. Lone Jack defeats Versailles 43-0. Neosho over Ozark 20-14. Valley Catholic shuts out St. Genevieve 31-0. Southern Boone, they defeat Hallsville 54-24. Rockbridge shuts out Battle 38-0. Owensville over Union 38-35. Lindbergh, they defeat Kirkwood 28-24. McDonald County over Monette 45-14. Marceline defeats Scotland County 43-21. Osage over Boonville 31-16. Lebanon, they defeat West Plains 52-14. Van Far over Crystal City 14-8. Herman defeats St. Clair 22-21. Liberty over Kabul 24-20. Springfield Catholic falls at Cassville 42-0. Centralia shuts out Highland 43-0. Warrensburg, they defeat Pleasant Hill 38-31. Reed Spring 26-12 over Aurora. Camdenton defeats Hillcrest 35-14. Harrisonville, they defeat Clinton 40-7. Elsewhere, it was Holden over Richmond 17-13. Lafayette defeats Eureka 28-21. Troy Buchanan over Howell North 35-7. Mid Buchanan defeats Penny 13-8. Gallatin over Putnam County over Gallatin 52-8. Kirksville defeats Mexico 24-13. Potosi over St. Charles West 19-17. Mount Vernon defeats Hollister 56-13. Was Seckman 28-3 over Pattonville. Odessa, they defeat Kansas City Center 52-6. Capital City over Smith Cotton 48-21. St. Dominic defeats Duchesne 45-7. Fort Zumwalt North over Liberty 35-14. Lexington defeats Carrollton 62-14. Polo over Russellville 29-16. Howell defeats Timberland 42-14. Sullivan defeats St. James 25-9. Central shuts out Skyline 37-0. South Callaway defeats Cuba 41-0. Fort Zumwalt West defeats Howell Central 27-14. Lafayette County over Knobnoster 61-35. Logan Rogersville defeats Marshfield 41-19. Portageville shuts out Malden 49-0. Marquette defeats Rittenauer 21-7. Principia on top of defeats Miller 42-13. Holt defeats Fort Zumwalt East 44-7. Parkway North over Webster Groves 43-7. KIPP Kansas City shuts out J.C. Harmon out of Kansas City, Kansas 56-0. Hillsboro shuts out DeSoto 42-0. Marshall defeats Fulton 20-0. Milan over South Harrison 40-0. Herculaneum over Bayless 40-0. Jackson shuts out Confluence 70-0. Was North County over Windsor 24-16. St. Pius X over Benton 58-14. Houston over Willow Springs 69-15. Diamond over Stockton 23-7. El Dorado Springs defeats Sherwood 44-8. Forsyth over Stratford 42-28. New Madrid County Central 47-12 over Perryville. Was St. Joe Central 42-12 over Excelsior Springs. Rockwood Summit 49-7 over Oakville. St. Michael Falls at East Buchanan 40-24. Those are your scores as we have them at this point. Certainly glad that you have tuned in. This football scoreboard show brought to you by Central Bank, and you can see the advertisers there popping up in the back. You see the Central Bank of the Ozarks logo, proud supporter of Missouri Sports Network, MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. And as always, the Missouri State Highway Patrol, listen, before you put your car in drive, check and make sure everybody's got their seatbelts on. I mean, they're in your car. You care about them. Put yours on as well. It's 3 seconds. It's 3 seconds that could save your life. Be safe, be smart, and be here tomorrow. Also, if you missed high school game day today, you can go to our YouTube site at Missouri Sports Network. You can catch our Athletes of the Week from around the state and catch our teams of the week from around the state. Athletes of the week sponsored by the Chevy dealers of the Ozarks and Chevrolet. Also presented by the Missouri State Highway Patrol. Our teams of the week and interviews about upcoming games, all brought to you by Liona Laborers, Local 663, Building, Missouri. Platte County over Belton, that has gone final now, 42-7. Joplin, they defeat Carl Junction 37-13. Checking on some other districts of note. Nevada, they lose tonight to Lamar. You look at that district, they're in Class 4, District 7 with Lincoln College Prep, Harrisonville, Carl Junction, Grandview Center, and Southeast with Central out of Kansas City. Nevada still atop that league there as they at 43.9 points. In second place is Lincoln College Prep with 39.29 points. Just got to notice that we're under a frost warning. Nicely done. Hey, it's great weather outside. It's fall weather. A lot of teams celebrating their homecomings. Here in the next couple of weeks, a few have already celebrated homecoming. Kids, if you're listening out there, hey, be careful. (42-29), that was the final there from Waynesville's. Bolivar got down 20-6 early in that contest. And then Bolivar comes kind of roaring back. One of the strangest, the end of the first half in that Stratford-Forsyth game, Forsyth scored, I want to say, 3 touchdowns in the last minute of that game as they got a touchdown, kicked off. Then there was a snap over the quarterback's head, and we'll talk more about this with Chris Conley here as we get going here on the show. Chris Conley, the head coach at Forsyth. We'll send him a quick, just a little reminder text. Here's they get their victory tonight. And looking at that, if we can get to that district here real quick as we're waiting that call. He's in a very tough Class 2 district there. Now that probably puts him into that second spot, or puts Forsyth into that second spot. Forsyth High School here, home of the Panthers. And in that district, as you look at that Class 2 district, that would have bumped them up ahead of Stratford now. Forsyth 6-1 on the season. Stratford coming in at 3-4. They're in third place, followed by Houston, Liberty, Mountain View, Springfield Catholic, and Willow Springs. But Fair Grove's got a commanding lead there at 7-0. And we welcome to the show now Forsyth Panther head coach Chris Conley. Coach, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Glad to be on here.
Coach, exciting game tonight with Stratford, quickly becoming maybe a little bit of a rivalry there, but talk a little bit about tonight's contest, and it moves you to 6-1. Coach, are you there?
Oh, I muted you on accident.
Oh, that's all right. I said exciting game. You guys go to 6-1. Talk a little bit about tonight's contest.
Yeah, that's a great. It was a good football game. I got to give Stratford a lot of credit. They're a good football team. They are now. They have been for a long time, and I think they always will be. But we kids had a hard fought game. Stratford was up quite a bit in the first half. We kind of traded scores. We're down 21-14 about 3 minutes ago. In the second, we scored. Had some, pinned them deep. It was a good kick, and they had a couple of turnovers there right at the end of the second, and we kind of took the lead and kind of ran with it, and then we traded some scores in the second half. But it was a good football game. It's a tough football game, and both teams I think brought it tonight. So.
Yeah, I was kind of tuned in a little bit there in that late in that second quarter. Seemed like you guys scored 3 touchdowns in about 90 seconds.
Yeah, we got very fortunate there, and capitalized on some mistakes, but we're real proud of the guys and how we finished that half. So it's a difference in the game, I think.
That's 3 wins in a row now, including at Skyline, then an overtime a win a week ago at Diamond, and then you go to Stratford. Where do you feel like your team's doing really well right now?
Yeah, I think defense has made a huge jump from last year. I give Coach Bailey huge credit for that, and Coach Cole because worked with the defensive line, and Coach Tidwell with his guys outside, and it's really impressive. Our young little middle linebacker crew and what they were able to improve on. So. I give a ton of credit to that. Our defense is much improved from last year, and those guys have been, working their tails off, and it shows. And the kids are buying in and getting better every week. So it's awesome.
Did you come out of tonight's contest relatively healthy for being week 7?
Yeah, we'll kind of see a little bit this weekend. Some guys, a little dinged up and whatnot. So it's a tough football game. So yeah, I'm sure we're gonna have a lot of soreness and whatnot, but yeah, for the most part healthy. Like I said, unless something doesn't meet the eye. So.
Hey guys, got homecoming next week. You got a very good Butler Bears team coming in. What do you know about the Bears?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I don't know a whole lot. This season. Their coach is a heck of a football coach, and his boys come ready to play. I think it was a bit of a shock. We went up there to Butler last year, and those boys flat play football. They bring it, at a championship level, and really got up on us big. And we battled back in the second half, which I'm extremely proud of our guys. And I thought we took a huge step forward in that game, even though they got us pretty good, but. My guess is, they're going to play a great defense and play extremely hard, extremely well, and they're going to be a good football team. So,
talk about how important this game was tonight, not only in the conference but just as a district standing. It's going to guarantee you, if you have to play Stratford again, it's going to be at your place. As long as you guys play well the rest of the season.
Yeah, absolutely, and that was huge, that head to head, because even at the time we were 2 and they were 3. I'm not sure how it's shaping up at this moment, but yeah, we were 2 and 3, and whoever wins that game, the points don't necessarily matter because head to head matters more, and if we're next to each other, the winner would jump. So that is extremely important, and could get us a home playoff game if it comes to that. So it was big. It was big for our guys to answer the challenge,
Well, outstanding. And yes, they have updated it. You guys are second right now behind Fair Grove, and you're about 7 points ahead of Stratford and almost 10 points ahead of Houston, who's 3-3 on the season. And they did win tonight, so that game hasn't been updated there. But, Coach, it's very important to get into that second spot. It's going to guarantee you, some home cooking there, at least one round for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Coach, I greatly appreciate you being part of the show tonight. Congratulations on a big win over Stratford, and we hope to talk to you soon, and congratulations.
Absolutely. Thank you. Like I said, I'm really proud of our team and the way we played and, represented, the community and the school. So it's awesome.
All right. Coach, have a good evening. Be safe.
Yeah, thank you. You too. Talk to you later.
You bet. Coach Chris Conley, they're kind enough to jump on with us. They do get that win. That puts them in second place behind Fair Grove. Fair Grove, obviously, it's 7-0, and Fair Grove already has head-to-head wins over Forsyth and Stratford. so likely not going to get caught there. And the thing about that district is they're Class 2 District 4, which means they won't see a Lamar team. Whoever wins this district won't see a Lamar team until the state championship game if they're both able to make it to that point. I'll tell you what, we're going to step away and we're going to take a quick time out. We'll be back here on the Missouri Sports Network here for Friday Night Live. I'm Guy Newcomb, and we'll be back after these messages.
Imagine a bank that goes where you go, creating seamless solutions for every step in your financial journey, allowing you to manage your money the way you want to, with a banking relationship that makes every day extraordinary. Imagine a world full of possibilities, always within reach. Central Bank. We do banking better.
The Walnut Street Inn is located in the heart of Springfield on historic Walnut Street, just blocks away from the Missouri State Campus, Hammonds Field, Great Southern Arena, and downtown Springfield. The Walnut Street Inn features newly remodeled rooms, breakfast served daily, and a friendly, accommodating staff. The Walnut Street Inn is also a great venue for private events. Book your stay or get more information at walnutstreetinn.com or call 417-864-6346.
The innocence of youth. Is there anything any better? But soon they'll be in high school and facing all the same challenges you faced. How to make friends, how to fit in, how to be cool. We want our children to have everything they'll need to live fulfilling and productive lives. Make sure the kids in your family are among the more than 290,000 participants here in Missouri who take part in high school sports or activities.
Hey, welcome back to Friday Night Live here on the Missouri Sports Network. And we have on with us now, I believe Alan Hilliard from Alan Hilliard Sports is in the studio. Alan, can you hear me? You probably have to turn your camera on or I won't be able to hear you. Because you may have to turn your camera on, Alan. But anyway, hey, we'll run through scores here. We're waiting to hear from Coach Shem Johnson, who will be calling in here about 10:35 as they get a big shutout win tonight over Skyline. I'm just texting some folks here. Hey, you're listening to Friday Night Live here on the Missouri Sports Network, MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. Check it in here real quick, just reloading some scores. Let's go through the finals. Let's see here if we can get out, let Alan slide in here. Alan, can you hear me? I cannot hear you. So my apologies. We may have to have him call in here later. Anyway, finals, it was SLU over Chaminade 43-6. CBC defeats Vianney 56-7. Bolivar over Waynesville 42-29. We don't have a final from that score yet. And we welcome to the show now Central Bulldogs head coach Shem Johnson. Coach Johnson, hey, thanks for joining us.
Hey, not a problem at all, guy. I appreciate you.
Coach, a big defensive effort tonight. You get a big shutout against Skyline. Talk about tonight's contest.
It was a good game for us. We were hitting on a lot of good points that we had been stressing for the last several weeks that we just couldn't quite put together. And, tonight we were blessed enough to have a lot of those things, come around fruition for us and make sure that, we felt good with how we ended the game. So, definitely can't take anything away from Skyline. They're a hard fought team, bunch of tough young men. they lack some depth, unfortunately, due to how their program's been hit this year. But I mean, they definitely posed a bit of an issue for us in some areas.
Coach, you guys kind of been road warriors so far this year. You've played out just 4 away games, but you've had to go to Kansas. You've had to go to St. Louis. You kind of battle tested there on the road.
Yeah, it's kind of the way the independent schedule goes for you. And if you got to get a game, sometimes you're not get to be real choosy with where you go and who you play. But at the same time, playing teams like we did, Fort Scott and Kansas, going up to play St. Dominic and St. Louis, actually Boonville this upcoming next Saturday. We really got those games in place to help set us up for our district play.
Coach, talk about some of the things you feel like you're doing really well right now as a team.
Well, tonight was seemingly kind of the first night we were really able to really connect on what we were trying to do. We got a lot of our blocks squared away. We were actually tackling, because over the last couple of weeks, it really hadn't been. We never felt that we were out of any games or felt that we were never competitive. We were just kind of kicking ourselves along the way. And when you do that, self-inflicted wounds, more or less, you can't really be successful. And tonight was hopefully the start of those things going into the future.
Now you go to Boonville next week. Did you come out of tonight's contest relatively healthy?
We did. Lucky enough, again, we were able to go in with our game plan, get some guys in second and third string to rest any of our ones that we needed to, as we got to a point in the game where we felt we were in control. So going up to Boonville with a healthy squad is definitely going to be something good for us to hold on to.
Well, what do you know about Boonville? They come in at 1-6. They're Class 3, District 7. So what do you know about the Pirates?
Haven't got a chance to really take a real good look at them. I know they're a hard fighting type of team that came off a great season a year ago. So they're trying to reload to an extent, but I think they're a little bit in the same boat as we are. It's just, it's finding the right pair of kids that want to play hard and finish strong. And, it's just one of those deals, every year you think you got one thing, it turns out to be something else. So playing a tough Boonville team on the road is always going to be a stressful kind of situation for us, but I think we can go up and handle it.
You bet, Coach. And obviously, I say battle tested, but you've played 3 undefeated teams already this year.
Yes, sir.
With Fairgrove, Marionville, and then at St. Dominic. And so your team's already battle tested. You talked about that preparation for your district. When do you start looking at those district seedings and maybe trying to move up one or something, something to that case? Have you looked at those seeds yet?
Not really. Right now, we're just trying to get ourselves on track. It's going to play out the way it's going to play out for the most part. So we have a feeling we'll probably be on the road regardless. But in the end, whoever we end up playing, as long as we come in playing the kind of ball that we know we can, we're going to make it a problem for anybody.
Outstanding. Well, Coach, as always, I always greatly appreciate you coming on the show and look forward to seeing you at the Quarterback Club on Mondays and at Bambino's Cafe.
I appreciate you, guy. Have a good evening.
Hey, you too, Coach. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Coach Shem Johnson there as they get a win tonight, 37-0. They're at Boonville. And it's got to be tough to schedule games when you're an independent. And a longtime member of the Ozark Conference there as far as being an SPS school. And I don't know what you guys are hearing. You can chat with us. I'll turn the chat deal on. But I've been hearing a lot of rumblings about conference realignment. Whether it's the Ozark Conference, and we've already seen that a little bit with the Mid-Lakes Conference adding Hollister, Reed Spring, and Springfield Catholic coming out of the Big 8 Conference. We're joined now by Alan Hilliard from Alan Hilliard Sports. Alan, I apologize I couldn't get you on out of the green room.
Yeah, that's technology issues. I've been dealing with them all day, but
Well,
good night for football.
You got to see a good one tonight between Bolivar and Waynesville. A Waynesville team that looked like they were going to run away and hide.
Well, with about 5.5, 6 minutes to go, it was 29-27 Waynesville.
And at one point it was 20-6 Waynesville, and then Bolivar kind of gets back in it there, and they go on to win 49 or 42-29. What stood out to you?
Well, Durham was part of at least four, well, technically all the touchdowns, but he was directly part of 4 of the touchdowns. He had 2 run-in touchdowns along with 2 passing touchdowns, and he's improving as a quarterback. Just watching him since last year, he's getting better every week, it seems like.
Now, who does Waynesville have next here as they're going into week 8? Part of that Ozark Conference. They're 2-5 right now, I believe, at this point in the season.
It'll be the initial rival they've had, the Rolla Bulldogs. So not really a crosstown rival, but the towns are about 20 minutes apart.
And they've been playing, I think you told me earlier today, they've been playing since 1959.
Yep, that was the very first football game for Waynesville. And they've played at least once every year since then.
And obviously now both part of the same conference, and they've been probably conference members for a long time between Waynesville there and Rolla. And Waynesville, there's a lot of history there with Coach Vernon, and they were the last and maybe the only team, the only Ozark Conference team to win a state title in football. Obviously, Joplin had won some, but that was prior to them becoming a member of the Ozark Conference.
Yeah, exactly. I actually looked up the records, and they are the only current member to win as an Ozark Conference member a state championship in football in any class.
And you've got Camden goes to 6-1, but right now it's all about Lebanon, isn't it, in the Ozark Conference?
I think Lebanon is pretty much sealed up the victory in the conference. They've another impressive performance tonight. Camden, another impressive performance, but I believe Lebanon and Camden square up this next week or so here.
Yeah, it is. Next week, Camden will travel to Lebanon. Camden 6-1 on the season. Lebanon 7-0, and Kickapoo. There are a couple teams. Well, probably Kickapoo rooting for the Camden Lakers. There's Kickapoo. They go to 6-1 with their victory tonight over West Plains. So that will put everybody with one loss. But Kickapoo, they've still got. I mean, they got their win over Rolla. Lebanon beat West Plains, but Kickapoo still has. They've got their last 2 games are at home, and it's Glendale, and that's a crosstown rival, and you can throw the records out. And then they've got Bolivar to finish the season there. And we'll be talking with Kickapoo head coach Nate Thomas here in about 5 minutes. But anything else stand out? Have you heard anything about conference realignments? I've been getting my phone kind of burning up here in the last couple of weeks with folks asking if I've heard about it, and I have, but I don't know if any of it. I don't know if any of it's true. Have you heard anything?
Yeah, I haven't heard anything aside from what you've been hearing with some of the COC and Big 8 and some of those other conferences maybe doing a little bit of shifting around. I mean, there's some ideas that would make some perfect conferences, but I don't think we'll have a perfect conference lineup like, we're imagining here.
Right. So what have you got on the docket coming up this week?
I got some football tomorrow. The S&T plays at home tomorrow in Rolla against Upper Iowa for college football. And then next Friday, I'll be back streaming. We'll be on the road at Rolla like we was talking about. So a lot of stuff locally here pretty much, but a lot of football still this weekend.
Yeah, and you look at some of the undefeated teams, and I was surprised that, and you can't say you're surprised, but a Carthage team that starts 0-3, and they won their fourth in a row tonight, beating Webb City, and that was kind of a game that stood out to me. Also, the Lamar Nevada game was a defensive struggle. We got to talk with Jared Beshore, the head coach at Lamar, earlier today, and it was had a punt return and a couple of big plays and some turnovers that really decided that game. But a tremendous defensive effort by both teams in that game. But Lamar comes out on top. They're 14-0 in that shutout. Any other scores kind of jump out at you that maybe surprised you a little bit?
Maybe I was thinking the Lebanon West Plains score would have been a little closer there, but I kind of expected that. And congratulations to Central on picking up the victory there. I noticed that during the game today when I was out working. But yeah, the Carthage Webb City score, that really kind of stood out, looking through the scores during the game. And then not really surprised, but the Nevada is a pretty strong program there. If they can hold up to Lamar like that, they've got some pretty good playoff hopes coming to them.
Yeah, that's another thing right now. You start looking at those first round matchups that are shaping up as some of the teams really have taken over, first place in their districts, and you go in even into that District 5, that Class 5 district there with Carthage and Webb City, both a member of that. Let me see if I can pull that up real quick, but if not, we will pull it up soon. But yeah, they're both a member of that Class 5 District 7. And as you look at that district, Webb City right now is 1, Carthage is 2. But based on head-to-head, Carthage would end up being the 1 seed because of the head-to-head matchup, with Webb City now being 5-2. Raytown South is 3rd in that district, point-wise, and then Belton, Ruskin, Smith Cotton, and Neosho wrap it up. But anyway, well, Alan, hey, I certainly appreciate being part of it, and we'll talk to you soon. We're going to jump off, take a break, and come back and talk Kickapoo Chiefs football with Nate Thomas. All right?
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks, Alan.
Yep. Bye.
Alan Hilliard there from Alan Hilliard Sports, kind enough to join us here on the air. He's kind of been watching as well, because sometimes I'm not sure I'm on the air, but we are on the air. And we're going to take a quick timeout. We'll come back and talk Kickapoo Chiefs football with head coach Nate Thomas.
Chevy Silverado. It's got the power you want and the capability you need to do the job, so you can get to the important work. Find new moments, find new roads. Get a $500 cash allowance on all 2022 Silverado pickups with a 2.7-liter turbo engine. Plus, unlock your code to claim $500 Chevy CyberCash. Visit ChevyCyberCash.com today.
Imagine a bank that goes where you go, creating seamless solutions for every step in your financial journey, allowing you to manage your money the way you want to, with a banking relationship that makes every day extraordinary. Imagine a world full of possibilities, always within reach. Central Bank. We do banking better.
The innocence of youth. Is there anything any better? But soon they'll be in high school and facing all the same challenges you faced. How to make friends, how to fit in, how to be cool. We want our children to have everything they'll need to live fulfilling and productive lives. Make sure the kids in your family are among the more than 290,000 participants here in Missouri who take part in high school sports or activities.
Hey, welcome back to Friday Night Live here on the Missouri Sports Network. Certainly glad that you have tuned in. And we are joined now by Nate Thomas, Kickapoo Chiefs head football coach. Coach Thomas, thanks so much.
Guy, thanks for having me on.
Coach, big win tonight, conference win, moving you up to 6-1. Talk about tonight's win.
Really proud of our kids. Had a good week of practice, and our guys went out and executed very, very well. Had an opening script that we felt really good about on offense, and was able to go back and run it essentially twice before halftime, and got some points up on the board. So just really proud of how our guys went out and performed today on both sides of the ball and in the kicking game. So.
Coach, talk about those young men who've kind of really stepped up tonight and have been doing so all season.
Chase Hamey at quarterback had another really, really good game. He's in the last 3 weeks, he's thrown 4 incompletions. He was 13 of 13 2 weeks ago. Last week he was 16 of 18, and tonight he was 8 for 10. He went for 227 and 3 touchdowns. He's just playing really, really well. He's distributing the ball. Looking at the stats here, it looked like 6 guys that we have on offense touch the ball in the passing game. So he's just doing a really good job of distributing it. And you can't lock in on one guy right now offensively on us. And he's just doing a good job of spreading it around, and our guys are making plays for him. I know we had a 93-yard touchdown to Trey Christian to open up the second quarter. So just like I said, they made plays when they had the opportunity tonight, and played really, really well.
Yeah, you finish out the season with back-to-back home games here. Talk about how important that is, especially trying to maybe slide into that 1 seed point-wise. You're going to get some, next week, obviously, a rivalry game, and you finish up with Bolivar. Talk about the importance of having those 3 games at home to finish your season.
Man, it's a luxury. I'm not gonna lie. Last year, you stare down the barrel of 3 away games back to back, and that's tough. Especially when you're going to Rolla and Bolivar 2 out of those 3 weeks, on top of having a rivalry game in Glendale. So it's definitely a luxury. We love playing at home. Our fans and students and band create an awesome atmosphere for us. So it's definitely an advantage. We feel like playing at home. Our kids are comfortable, and we've got a schedule down that they really like and we stick to. So like I said, it's a luxury that we don't take lightly for sure.
Hey, how was it tonight? And coaches have talked about this all night long about finally getting some fall weather.
Yeah,
some football weather.
Yeah, I didn't have to wring out my shirt when I came in after the game. It was even last week. I mean, West Plains, we got off the bus and it was still 90 degrees. So it was beautiful. We were a little worried about the wind. We got out of school and the wind was blowing about 20 mile an hour. We had to take some extra weights out there to kind of get our tunnel secured, and it really died down at about 7:30, and hardly any wind the rest of the night, but it was beautiful. I know our offensive linemen, defensive linemen loved every second of it for sure.
Absolutely, Coach. And did you come out of tonight's contest? And I know we're 2/3 of the way through the season, but are you relatively healthy?
We are. It's knock on wood. We don't have anybody in a cast. We lost one of our really good tight ends back in week 3 at Waynesville. And, everybody's banged up at this point in the season. You got to kind of learn to play through some just being hurt. There's a difference between being hurt and being injured. And I think 90% of the teams that we play, and us included, have some guys that are they're hurting. You get to this point in the season and you're banged up. And I know we took a Tuesday this week and we padded up, and Wednesday we were in helmets only, trying to get some of our guys back to full speed on Friday night. So it's probably something that we'll do again next week. Or we have with 26 seniors, we feel like we have guys that are mature enough they go out, and we had a really good practice Wednesday and just helmets. So it's nice having those older guys on your team that can take charge of that, and you go out in helmets and you still get a lot accomplished.
You bet. Well, Coach, I greatly appreciate you being part of the show tonight. Congratulations on the win, and best of luck as you go forward here, and we'll get you back on. And if nothing else, we'll eat lunch together maybe at
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
Sounds like a plan.
Hey, how about that Bambinos?
Hey, it's a big upgrade. I tell you what, I'm spoiled going over there to eat. Without a doubt, my wife's jealous.
You bet. You bet. Well, Coach Thomas, thanks so much for your time.
All right. Thank you, Guy.
You bet. Thanks, Coach.
Bye.
Coach Nate Thomas, head coach there at Kickapoos. They go to 6-1 tonight with a win over Ryle. They finish up with Glendale and Bolivar at home. And you just look at that Class 6 District 5. They've got Nixa in there, but they're just 4 points behind Nixa. There in Nixa, they played last night. They got a win over Willard, which was Class 5, so they didn't get any bonus points. Kickapoo won't get in your Class 6. You're not going to get bonus points anyway. But they go to 6-1, and it's not the points are going into tonight. They were just not even 4 points behind Nixa. So there's a possibility with those guys not having a head-to-head that points-wise they could get them. But Nixa's probably still the class of that district there. Well, you've been watching and listening to to Friday Night Live here on the Missouri Sports Network. Hey, keep it right here for all your sports. We have our Leona Labor's Local 663 teams of the week. We've got our athletes of the week. We do interviews with coaches all week long. We do high school game day every Friday at 5, and then the scoreboard show every Friday night at 9:30. We do it first, and we do it well. Special thanks to all our coaches who have been part of the show tonight. Mid Buchanan head football coach Aaron Fritz, Lamar head football coach Jared Beshore, Andy McFarland from Reed Spring, kind enough to join us, Chris Conley from Forsyth, also Shem Johnson, the head coach at Central, and we just wrapped up with Nate Thomas, the head coach at Kickapoo. And as always, the Missouri State Highway Patrol reminds us to take that 3 seconds and buckle up. It's 3 seconds that could save your life. Be safe, be smart, and be here tomorrow.